Hello everybody, Pinstripe here, welcome back to some more Hogs of War. We're moving on to Mission 13 of Glacier Guns. Now this is the first time you're going to see the enemy team using 5 pillboxes in one mission. The total amount of damage you need to dish out in this level, including for the 500 armor that the pillboxes have altogether, as well as the pigs inside them, you're going to be needing to dish out 875 damage to destroy them all and kill all the pigs and win the mission. It's kind of crazy when you do the maths on it, just in terms of damage numbers and stuff. But I like to begin the mission by sending my commando, seeing as he has a jetpack, to the very corner of the map to pick up the promotion point and then just get on with trying to dish out any kind of damage. So he's going to stay in that corner of the map because it's probably the most effective place to be, because the pillboxes from a long range perspective are not very accurate, so you kind of want to keep your distance throughout the match and try not to get up close to them, otherwise it's an easy shot and an easy 40 damage. So dishing out damage here with the airburst, because it was either going to be that or the cluster bomb, given that that does a ridiculous amount of damage to vehicles, but I figured I'd save that for the next turn. So the enemy's going to come along and try and deal out some damage, but like I said, this is a good example of the pillbox having poor long range capabilities, which is fine by me because, I mean, if they're not going to be dealing any damage, then it's just easier to get on with the level, isn't it? So I kind of send all my pigs except for the pyrotechnic. I keep him back. I send everyone else forward to get up close to the enemy pillboxes and deal damage. But the pyrotechnic kind of stays back, hangs back, uses his long-range weapons to dish out some easy damage. That is, if I could actually hit all my shots, because I don't with the pyrotechnic in this level. There is no right or wrong way of actually doing this mission, whether or not you want to dish out damage between all 5 of them, or if you want to target one of them and then, you know, just go through them one at a time. That's perfectly fine, because overall the game time is going to be about 10 minutes. Which is why this video is not necessarily longer than usual. As the rounds go on and we get into the more difficult levels, certain missions will take a bit longer, but nevertheless I've decided to use my spy, pick up the weapons, pickpocket them, sorry, from the enemy gunner, so he is kind of rendered a bit useless, and I've decided to leave him in the position next to him, because then if the enemy pillboxes target the spy, they're most likely to hit their teammate. So really, as I've said, it's all about keeping the pyrotechnic back, letting him dish out long-range damage, and then moving my players, because once you get in behind the pillboxes, it's pretty easy to just remain hidden from within the trees and dish out major bits of damage, which I know is a word I'm using a lot in this mission, but it's true, because like I said, 875 damage in total. You need to equal that with the weapons that you've got and the weapons that you can pick up around the map, because there are quite a few helping hands. You've got a lot of rocket launchers, you get an airstrike later on, and of course you have the anti-pillbox mines, which I'm going to go pick up soon, I think with the spy in the end, because my engineer kind of hangs back. I figured why not use his shrapnel grenades, because if you can use those effectively, all of the shrapnel kind of ends up hitting the pillbox. But in my case, just because for some reason only the initial explosion did damage and not the additional shrapnel, which was annoying because it made this mission a little bit longer. And I try and keep the matches and the rounds themselves as low as possible, so that I'm not sat here rambling for 13 minutes and I don't bore you guys with stuff. But nevertheless, he's going to be picking up the extra health, so that at least if, you know, he gets in trouble, he can take some damage before having to worry about being healed by the surgeon. And the surgeon is probably the weakest against pillboxes, given that they do 40 damage. If they get hit 3 times with it, then it's kind of game over. And this is where it does bite me back in the arse with my positioning of the spy there, because yeah, okay, the enemy gunner took 2 shots there, which killed him, but in turn, you know, I get hit by one of their shots, which takes away 40 damage from me, as well as taking the extra explosive damage from the dead pig, so he gets taken down, but my pig ends up losing 60 health. So then I have to kind of use my commando's turn to beef up the health of the spy, so it's kind of going back and forth, but at least we now have an extra pair of hands that can dish out heals if need be. Even though the medical darts aren't as effective as, say, the healing hands or the medical ball that can dish out heals to multiple people, you kind of have to go between one and the other depending on if you're a commando or if you're using the surgeon. So picking up the rocket launcher that can deal obviously a maximum of 50 damage, and basically just targeting the pillboxes that have the most health, because I started off targeting one and then I just kind of targeted each individual pillbox depending on the character that I was going with. It always surprises me when you have just a bunch of weapons that are quite rare in Hogs of War, and they're only used in very specific missions, like the anti-tank mines or anti-pillbox mines. Those are extremely powerful, as I've said, against pillboxes, so that they deal above 100 damage, or at least close to it, because if you lay down two of them, then automatically that pillbox is going to be destroyed. So imagine what that would be like against enemy pigs, any of the highest ranked classes or characters that have 120 health, like base health. That would be kind of crazy. So moving the spy along to pick up those anti-pillbox mines and take down the pillbox that currently has the most health, I believe. I think that was my thought behind it, or my reasoning behind going for this one over here, because why not? It hasn't actually taken that much damage, and yeah, it does have 100 health. So plunking them down and enjoying watching this pig fly as it deals crazy damage, and he ends up with, just like 4 health, I want to say. Oh, wait, no, sorry, there's a box over there. Yeah, but I mean 2 health though, that's pretty decent, not going to complain about that one. So dishing out plenty of damage and really taking control of this match, given that we have 2 more pillboxes to try and take down. The third one has very low health, so it's not going to be too much of an issue, it's just these top 2 at the moment. But our Saboteur is well positioned in between the trees. I'm going to be dishing out some heals to the commando over here, trying to keep my distance, because sometimes I've had it where if I'm like trying to heal someone who's closely positioned to another pig, it will heal both of them. It's very rare to happen, but I don't trust it. Or sometimes it doesn't register that you're trying to heal one pig instead it heals the other one. That would be worth testing out though. I'd be curious to see what the dealio is with that. So here I'm trying to think of what's the best thing to do. Do I use my grenade and try and take out the pillbox that has very little health, or do I just, try and take out some more damage from the enemy pillbox that has a little bit more? So the burst rifle, which is very effective given that it does 45 damage, is pretty nice against enemy vehicles, alongside, again, the shrapnel grenade, which I was hoping, again, would try and use its shrapnel against the enemy pillbox, but again, it only does barely the base 30 damage, only 28 there, so that pig isn't going to be coming out anytime soon, and I was actually wrong about this pillbox. It still has 54 health. I thought it was a bit lower. I was maybe hoping that there could be part of the trail of that machine gun would hit the enemy pig below me, but unfortunately it only hits my commando, so instead I have to move him back, and we have this last health kit over here that's going to heal him back up by 50, and then I'm just going to kind of keep him in the corner and do the same thing as the pyrotechnic, given that I can just dish out damage from afar, but this time I have the sniper rifle, so now that pillbox is going to have less health, which is pretty neat. Unfortunately, my Saboteur does take a big chunk of damage over the next few turns, but again, that was the whole reason for picking up the health kit earlier on in the match, given that he can then tank some damage and be assisted from long range by my pyrotechnic. So using the airburst to dish out the final amount onto him, and he's going to blow up and run away, which is pretty neat. I was hoping that he'd slide down into the water, but it's not going to be a problem given that the Saboteur is there and their other gunner is going to jump out and for some reason shoot my my surgeon. I don't know what it is about some of the AI in this match, or just in Hogs of War in general, but sometimes they just choose the strangest things to do. I mean, you've got a bazooka, but you end up shooting someone in the face who is a fair distance away, like still within range of the pistol, but it just seemed like a strange choice to me. So I'm going to be taking down the other gunner that has low health and the other pillbox, so that's kind of 2 birds killed with 1 stone, almost. But at least the other pillbox is taken care of. Finally, that is the airstrike being dropped into the corner of the map, but everything is kind of coming together. I've got everyone where I need them to be. I've got all the weapons necessary to dish out the needed damage, and that's what I love about a lot of the maps in Hogs of War. You just kind of have to go looking for certain things, because you'll find that the map usually assists you, whether it be in health or in weapons, that are specific to dealing damage to certain things. Like for instance with this match you have the anti-pillbox mines, it's put there to assist you in dishing out quick damage and understanding where you need to be and where you need to go to complete the mission. So this enemy gunner is going to be taken care of quite nicely by the TNT. I figured why not just let the water do the damage and push him back as much as possible, and thankfully it does enough to do that. So he's not going to play a part in this match anymore, and like I said, everything is kind of stacking in my favour, and I will be using the airstrike very shortly. The ultimate goal I find when facing up against pillboxes, artillery or tanks is to anticipate what their next move is going to be. So for instance, if you move a pig very close to the pillbox, then 9 times out of 10 that pillbox will target that pig, or they'll target the pig that has the most health out of your entire team. So knowing how the enemy will react to certain moves and basically being one step ahead is always going to be a major priority, especially when you're facing up against the heavier artillery that has more health, and you really have to plan out each move with each character, and that includes moving people around in your roster. It's always something that I forget you can do and something that I always forget to do at the start of a match, but this AI player, what is he doing? I honestly don't know. It seems that whenever the AI are positioned near a very steep incline, especially if they are a gunner or just a heavier weapons character, they will end up damaging themselves and just going like full power like face first into the wall. It's very strange, but he took some damage there, which was fine by me, and I've finally taken down the other enemy pillbox, so it's really just a case of playing cleanup and finishing up this match, which isn't going to be too much of a problem, although I did get a little bit worried given that this gunner was quite close to my saboteur, who is very low on health at this point. So for my next move, I decided to move my spy and take him out with the sniper rifle, given that it's just a quick and easy thing. I'm dishing out the necessary amount of damage, given that he's got 37 health, and it does a maximum of 40. I could have taken out the pig who has the lowest amount of health, but what if in the next turn that enemy pig closest to the saboteur decides to use his bazooka? Then I've got a problem because he could end up taking him down, and I don't want to lose any players, especially considering that this match has gone so well and that no one has died. It's quite difficult sometimes to actually have your enemy pigs die, although I know that it's easy for me to say that given that I played this game for millions of years, you know. So I did get a little bit worried here at the very end as my spy takes damage, falls quite deeply in the water and has to turn around. But thankfully he makes it back to shore and everything is a-okay, and it's just up to the surgeon to finish things off with the simplest of weapons of the grenade. It's always very satisfying when you finish a mission with a very simple bit of damage. So overall that's going to wrap everything up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, enjoyed the mission. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below as always. Let's get a discussion going. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you enjoy fighting against vehicles? Do you think they offer a little bit of a difference in terms of the game flow? Let me know, and in the meantime I will catch you guys later for the next one.